I was raised with fairly standard moral values: don't lie, don't steal, stuff like that. We learned about God and Jesus growing up, but it wasn't a huge part of our life. We went to church maybe twice a year, Christmas and Easter, but other than that, we had nothing to do with Christianity, really. That all changed around the time I was about 12 years old, I want to say. My mother got saved, with my father being saved shortly afterwards, and we started going to church about 3 times a week. Shortly after that, I was taken out of public school and started being homeschooled. Needless to say, this was a lot of change all at once, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. I definitely didn't enjoy it very much. But for the next 3 years, essentially we were just going to church 3 times a week, and I was learning all these things, becoming very familiar with the gospel, but not quite being convinced of it for a long time. When I was around 14 or 15, I got very interested in lots of different things, among which was philosophy. I had already been really interested in science, and so I decided that I really needed to determine whether I believed these things that I was listening to and learning about for the past couple years. I started reading lots of different books. I've always loved to read. I read like the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, along with a lot of other titles, and the Bible, of course. And the more I read, the more I just kept seeing these different threads, these different concepts and ideas that were common between everything, although they were reached by very different avenues in all the different sources I was looking at. And the more I sort of followed these threads and tried to understand where they were coming from, I found that they were most simply and clearly described by something that I had learned in church over the past couple of years. I kept doing this, kept reading, kept learning, and before I noticed it, I had become thoroughly convinced of the gospel. And I kept reading. I wanted to really make sure that I knew what I was doing, but God was working in my heart, and He really changed it. And He wouldn't let go of me because I found it was actually impossible not to believe this thing that I had come to believe. The journey was not easy after that. There were many years where I was at varying lengths of nearness to and separation from God, but He held on to me through all of it. And eventually my wife and I, we came here to Arlington Baptist Church. We started attending regularly, and that has just helped us so much become closer to God again and really enjoy it. And it's been amazing. For the first time in my life, for many years, I don't have this constant self-deprecation going on in my head because I'm sinning and then feeling guilty and then sinning yet again. I finally can understand and feel the peace that comes from having a clear conscience and really dedicating myself and making a commitment to serving the God that I know and love.